Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video, and as the title suggests, I'm going to be tackling Chelsea's summer transfer window. Whenever that transfer window is, it's going to be absolutely huge for Chelsea Football Club, so I wanted to make a full video on it and give my thoughts on that window. But before we get into that video, I just want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. I upload daily videos now about Chelsea Football Club, so to make sure you never miss an upload, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and also give this video a like if you can't wait for Chelsea to be back. But let's get into today's video and imagine a completely realistic scenario where Frank Lampard emails me and tells me I am now in charge of Chelsea's summer recruitment. I want to set some ground rules for today's video. So firstly, I can only sign 4 new players. 4 new players is my limit. And in turn, I have to sell at least 4 current first team players. Of course, we have signed Hakim Ziyech. Now, it's hard to predict when football will return and when this transfer window will take place. But let's assume football resumes sooner rather than later. The season is concluded and we get our summer transfer window, probably late summer at this rate. Let's start firstly with some outs, because I think those are the more easier ones to predict, and there are 3 players currently at Chelsea in the first team squad that are out of contract very soon. Those 3 players scored in Chelsea's last game against Everton, and those 3 players are Olivier Giroud, Willian and Pedro. Let's start with Willian, a player who has been a great servant for Chelsea. You know, he signed in 2013. He's probably Chelsea's, along with, I believe, Azpilicueta, Chelsea's longest serving player in the current first team squad. He has demanded apparently a 3-year contract. Pedro is a little different. We don't really know the contract situation. It seems a little bit more relaxed, and it seems sort of inevitable that he might leave in the summer, potentially to the MLS. Now, I believe with both Willian and Pedro, time is up for them. I think it is time for both of them to move on. With Willian, he's demanded a 3-year contract. Chelsea aren't willing to give him that. And I think it's a nice sort of and a comfortable way to sort of split ways now. Willian has done some great things for Chelsea. Of course, he has split the fan base. And I do believe in time he will be regarded as one of Chelsea's best players in recent years. But I think it's time for him to move on. Similar with Pedro, all the winning experience he has, he can go to the MLS, relax, and then retire, take all of his medals with him, and remember him in a fond way. I believe Willian and Pedro are the past. They're comfortable, safe players who we have a bond with. For Chelsea to really move forward, they need to let some of that go and rebuild. Though the one player out of contract that I do want to keep is Olivier Giroud. I believe Chelsea will hand Olivier Giroud a new contract, and I think it's necessary. You know, you can't let goals and experience like that go out the door. I said similar when I made my Tammy Abraham video yesterday. And with Tammy Abraham, you know, Giroud, as we've seen this season, when Tammy's got injured, when he's been out of form, it's a great player to bring in. And with Euro 2020 being postponed to 2021, there is still going to be that motivation within Giroud to make the French squad. So there's going to be that motivation for him that was there this season. Though another couple of players that I believe will be leaving is number 1, Willy Caballero. His time is up. I look at his age, he's not going to get any better, and I think this is a perfect time to part ways with him. And Michy Batshuayi, you know, he is the one striker that I do feel Chelsea will sell and should sell in the summer. He's had lots of chances. No Chelsea coach has ever really trusted him. I don't see in his game a change in that given his age. I feel that Chelsea could potentially get a good fee for him at this rate, and he's not going to get any chances with the way I'm going to recruit moving forward. So I feel that this is the end for Michy Batshuayi. He's given us some great goals. We will always have that winner at West Brom, but it's time to say goodbye to Michy Batshuayi. Now I'm going to skip over Chelsea's midfield in terms of incomings and outgoings as well, because it is a stacked area. It doesn't need major investment. It's the one area of Chelsea's squad that does not need major investment. And if I've only got 4 players to sign here, midfield is not an area I'm going to be focusing on. Midfield is the most technically proficient. It's the most diverse in skill set. You've got a variety of players there in good places in their career that are all fighting for minutes. And as well, you've got variation, as I said, in diversity in terms of skill set within there. You've got bombing number 8s in Ruben Loftus-CHEEK and Mason Mount who can potentially score goals. You have got players comfortable in possession in Mateo Kovacic and Jorginho. You've got an uncovered gem in Billy Gilmour that could potentially do a bit of both there and could be the future of Chelsea in midfield. The only two unknowns in here are N'Golo Kante and Ross Barkley. N'Golo Kante for his fitness. Can he ever reach those fitness levels that he has before? He's had consistent injuries with Chelsea this year, and that'll be a concern. And of course, there has been concern whether Chelsea could cash in on him and get a really massive fee to help invest in other players. But I'm not going to sell him. And the other one is Ross Barkley. His inconsistency has been a frustration, but he has played well recently for Frank Lampard. But once again, I don't feel this is a vital area. Maybe players could leave here, but I don't believe major investment is needed in the midfield area, in my opinion. But let's move to my first signing, and it's going to be in the role of goalkeeper because, of course, with Willian Pedro leaving, going to need a replacement. I am going to keep the faith with Kepa. I don't feel Chelsea are going to sell him, and I don't think Chelsea should sell him for the big fee, for the big contract, for the fact it's a player still coming into the prime of their career. And I do feel he's got a good character within him. He can respond to adversity. But Chelsea need to find a potential for a younger, hungrier keeper that can provide strong competition. Ajax's Andre Onana seems like the perfect option. Number one, he's the ex-mate, and there's even been reports he could deal with sitting on the bench and fighting for his place with a number one keeper and potentially could be leaving Ajax this summer. Chelsea have already done big business with Ajax, so could potentially go back in there and do that again. I know Nick Pope has been sort of touted as maybe a backup keeper, but if Chelsea want to be serious, they need to go in for top players to supplement the squad and to challenge Kepa, because I think it's a win-win situation. Either it challenges Kepa so much that he becomes a brilliant keeper, or we get another better keeper in Onana who replaces Kepa and makes that area stronger. So that is my first signing. Now let's move on to left back, which for me is the top priority within this list. I think if there's one area, if someone was to say to me, you can only sign one player, it's going to be at left back. The situation at left back is a little bit interesting. You've got Emerson, you've got Marcus Alonso, and you've got Ian Maatsen, a youngster who's just been given a big contract. Maatsen's new contract is interesting because apparently he wants to fight for his place, but that means that potentially both of Emerson and Marcus Alonso are going to leave. I feel that, when you look at both Alonso and Emerson, they both provide different things. You've got Marcus Alonso, who's a specialist player and has proved his usefulness in recent weeks. Whilst Lampard's best formation isn't settled, Alonso stands a good chance of getting minutes. Emerson started the season well, but hasn't recovered form and is out of favour from Lampard. But out of Emerson and Marcus Alonso, I would keep Marcus Alonso preferably as a backup. I feel he's got those big goals and stays as a good backup and has got that vital experience that is needed. But that probably means that Ian Maatsen needs a loan move to get more experience, to get more first team football, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Of course, both of these players could leave. I'm a little bit up in the air in this, but that's my personal preference on who should be sold and who should be kept. But let's look at who could be the new left back. Firstly, Alex Telus. I've spoken about him before on the channel. There's a low cut fee there. Reports of Chelsea being in talks with Porto. It seems like a good deal, doesn't it? He seems like a deal that Chelsea could get, a bit like Ziyech. A good fee, a good move that potentially really improves and strengthens a key area in Chelsea's squad. Next target is, of course, Ben Chilwell from Leicester, and apparently is Frank Lampard's preference. The obvious choice. He's played brilliantly for Leicester this year. He's at a brilliant age of his career, coming into the prime of his career. He's played in a progressive attacking system under Brendan Rodgers and has thrived. Chelsea know all about this because, of course, he scored against us in February, but would command a massive fee from Leicester. Leicester showed last summer with Harry Maguire they're not messing about. They will wait to get their big fee, which is absolutely within their right, but could prove difficulty in negotiations over the summer. But I'm not going to pick either of these players. In fact, I'm going to pick another Alex, and that is Alex Gramado from Benfica. As Tifo Football eloquently put it in their transfer video about Chelsea in January, Gramado has Andy Robertson level stats. With the most important position for me to be strengthened, Gramado should be top of that list. We need to match the pace and movement on the right side of Reece James, and Gramado definitely offers that. We need to also match the productivity that Reece James can provide with crossing, with assists, with attacking. We all need that on the left side, and it's seriously lacking on Chelsea's side. So many times you feel that our game is hampered, especially when Dave is playing out there and he has to cut back onto his right foot. We don't have the right pace and energy on that side, and that's what Frank Lampard wants. He wants movement. He wants quick and athletic players. Gramado absolutely can offer that. And for me, if this is top priority, Chelsea need to invest heavily in this area, and I'm going to go with Alex Gramado over the other players that have been targeted. Now, you see him on the thumbnail. We're going to have to talk about him, Jadon Sancho, the golden boy of European football, the dream mega money signing, the player everyone wants. You know, you got hashtag Sancho 2020. Fans are craving what could be Chelsea's biggest signing since Eden Hazard in 2012. Now, reports have been unclear as to how serious Chelsea are in trying to acquire the winger, and Manchester United appear to leave the race. Now, I'm pretty sure Manchester United's qualification for the Champions League is essential in making this deal happen. If they don't qualify, then I don't believe that Jadon Sancho would want to leave Borussia Dortmund, where he's got guaranteed Champions League football, to move to a club in the Europa League. And this is where Chelsea could potentially make a big move for Jadon Sancho. Now, there are a few snags in this potential deal. We bought Christian Pulisic, we invested heavily in Callum Hudson-Odoi with a new contract, and we just bought Hakim Ziyech, who plays in the same role as Jadon Sancho recently. Now, I do want to look at some alternatives to Jadon Sancho. Firstly, Jeremy Boga, of course, former Chelsea youngster who is now at Sassuolo. Chelsea did have a buyback clause, a very cheap buyback clause for Boga from Sassuolo. That felt like sort of an obvious choice, especially with Willian Pedro potentially leaving. This is a great player to bring back. He's done some incredible things at Sassuolo this year to the excitement of Chelsea fans. But apparently, Chelsea have met with Sassuolo to remove that buyback clause, which doesn't potentially rule out a move, but why would you remove that buyback clause in the first place? So that potentially rules out any move for Jeremy Boga. Bayer Leverkusen's Leon Bailey has also been linked to Chelsea, a talented playmaker who is sure to make a big move soon from the Bundesliga to another big European club. Could Chelsea snatch Bailey's signature whilst everyone else is squabbling over Jadon Sancho? But with the connection to Abraham and Hudson-Odoi, his rise to stardom, and Lampard's crave for influence and goals from wide areas, going all out for Jadon Sancho would not only send a major signal out to the rest of the footballing world, it would truly revitalise an area that has needed it for many years. Sure, it would be an astronomical fee, the biggest paid in Chelsea's history for sure, but think about the message it would send to Chelsea's rivals. Think about the way it could energise Chelsea's fan base. Think about the way it could infuse absolutely major competition in Chelsea's squad and make all the players up their game and up their performances. And for me, it would send a message that Chelsea are coming back to the top of English football, and they're doing it very quickly. Now, let's finish with striker. Of course, as I've said already, Olivier Giroud stays. Tammy Abraham gets that new deal. Watch my video on Tammy yesterday. Link will be in the description box below. But Chelsea apparently are focused on signing Moussa Dembele. You look, 22 goals this season, more than Abraham. He's another player that seems to be rising in European football. Frank Lampard wants the fast-moving, energetic forward like Abraham provides. Apparently, Chelsea wanted him in January, and it's no surprise to me that they try and go back in the summer to get him from Lyon. Though there is one alternative in a player that Chelsea wanted to sign in January and nearly did from Napoli, and that is Dries Mertens, who is out of contract and can be a free in the summer. A free agent that could be the hottest free agent for sure, and can provide that experience, and is sort of an alternative to Dembele. Dembele very much is coming into the prime of his career. Mertens fills sort of that Giroud role, that maybe is more content for sitting on the bench and wouldn't provide as much intense competition for Tammy Abraham, and doesn't add as much conflict. You feel if Dembele does arrive down the line, Chelsea may have to make a decision between Tammy Abraham and Moussa Dembele for who they want to go as their first striker, and one of them could leave. But once again, this is my list, so I'm going to go with Moussa Dembele. I feel that this is a player Chelsea will target, but Mertens isn't a bad shout for sure. Look at all he's done for Napoli over recent years. He is a proven goal scorer and can provide that experience and nous and a bit of an alternative to Tammy and Olivier Giroud that could be vital for Chelsea next season in all competitions. So that is it for my Chelsea summer transfer window. Let's look at the ins and outs. So firstly, the outs: Willian, Pedro, Caballero, Emerson and Michy Batshuayi. The ins: Andre Onana, Alex Gramado, Jadon Sancho and Moussa Dembele. As I said at the start, this is just a bit of fun. These are just my opinions. I believe that many of these signings, of course, won't come to fruition, but I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So make your own list, the ins, the outs. Who do you think would be good signings for Chelsea in the summer, and what players have I missed in terms of recruitment and in terms of selling that you would like to see happen? So let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.